Hi, everyone. It's been a while since we've done webinars. Today, I have with me Alaa, who will be talking about startups and how to evaluate them. Alaa is an Atlas Score Fellow from Palestine. He's currently serving at two organizations, one being Atlas Score and the other being Fitness Labs. He's going to talk about his what he was doing back in Palestine and then move on to his presentation. I wanted to speak a little bit to introduce his topic, but he told me he got a good idea that I don't know much about it. So he specifically told me to just simply introduce him and let him do the talking and then ask questions after the webinar. So you guys please do the same. You know that we now don't do live webinars, but you're more than welcome to reach out to the fellows and ask questions directly. So without wasting further time, I'm going to now hand it over to Alaa to please introduce himself and talk more about his topic today.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Alaa. I am a fellow from Palestine, serving, as Sarah mentioned, Atlas Score and Fitness Labs. I'm working with Atlas Score on their tech fellowship program, working with Fitness Labs as product manager on multiple startup companies that they are working on. My background is a technical background. I used to work in my last 5 years as product manager, business development, and in fundraising for maybe 4 to 5 startups. Some of them are in Kuwait, some of them Saudi Arabia, some of them in Gaza, some of them in Jordan. So my major experience is in the Middle East, but now I am experiencing the startup industry in the US too. Working close to the startup give me a little bit experience and sense how the investors are seeing the valuation of the companies, how they deal with the equity, how they want to see the companies valuated, and these things. So today we are going to talk about two main methods, two common methods that most of the startups uses, or maybe they are the most easiest methods to evaluate your company, and how you will present these for the investors and how you will calculate the things. So I'll be sharing the presentation that I prepared because we will have some numbers and some equation that we need to use and we need to introduce for these methods. So first of all, I wanted to to give you some news that this webinar is not going to be so long, so it's going to be focused on these two methods. And whatever you have questions, you can post it as comments on the YouTube. You can email me. If there's a lot of interest in this topic, we can arrange a session or something that talk longer about this thing, or maybe other things that related to the same topic. So let's start with the equity, which is the amount of percentage that the investor got from your company when you got an investment. So the equity percentage equals the investment divided on the valuation. And let's ask you this question. If your valuation, your company valuation is 3 million, and you have an investor who want to invest 1 million in the company, so how much is his equity? Is it going to be 33.3%, or it's going to be 25%, or it's going to be depends? The answer for that, it depends, because if the valuation that you are mentioning here is the pre-money valuation, or if it's the post-money valuation. So we have two kinds of valuation. The pre-money valuation means that the value of the company before receiving that amount of investment. The post-money valuation means that the valuation of the company after receiving this amount of money. And the valuation we are talking about here is the post-money valuation. And why the equity is affected by the post-money valuation and the investment that's coming in, because the investment that the investor is paying is going to affect the valuation of the company, the growth of the company, the sales, the product, anything. So it should be calculated and considered as a post-money valuation. So for example, if the pre-money valuation is 3 million and the investor wants to pay 1 million, so the post-money valuation is 4 million. Then the equity is going to be the investment divided on the post-money valuation, that means it's 25% of the company. So now let's go and talk about the methods of valuation. We are going to talk only about two methods, which is the discounted cash flow and the scorecard method. Let's start with the discounted cash flow method because it's most common with the startups and companies that make revenues or know their projected revenues or know their expectations of the revenues and expenses. And that equation, it depends on three factors. The first one is the year, the number of the year that you are calculating the valuation. The second thing is the free cash flow, which is as simple as the revenues minus the expenses. And it's if you are making revenues and spending expenses, so it should be the actual numbers that you are gaining and the actual number you are spending. If it's not, if you are selling that in an early stage where your revenue will start coming the next year or the year after, so it will depend on the projected numbers and the projected revenues. The third factor is the discounted rate. The discount rate is something like the risk that you think might affect the company because of the market changes, because of the team changes, because of the things that can happen to the market or the competitors or something like this. And it's always something depends on the country or the place that you are having your startup at or the market that you are targeting. So, for example, in the Middle East, as where I'm have all my startups at, it's from 30% to 40%. But here in the US, it's maybe between 15 to 25%. In other countries in the Europe or Africa, it depends on the market. So you just need to ask what's the most common discount rate that the people there are using and put it in your equation. Because at the end of the day, the valuation is an estimation value of your company. And the equation is going to be the summation of the free cash flow divided on 1 plus the rate up to the number of the year. And as an example, it's if you are projected or if you are having these as actual numbers of revenues. So if you calculated your cash flow as your revenues minus your expenditures, and it's 100,000 for the first year, 2 million for the second, 30 million for the third one, 1 million for the fourth, and then you can calculate the discount cash flow for each year as the equation said, as you can see here. So this is the R discount rate, and this is the number of the year. So here it's 1 because the first year, this is the second year, this is the third year, and this is the fourth year. And whenever you calculate the discount cash flow for each year, you just do the summation, and then you will have the value of your company just right here. So this can be an actual valuation if you have an actual numbers, if these numbers are actual. So if you are at the first year of your company, you have this as your free cash flow, and this is your second year, and this is your third year, and this is your fourth year. So this is going to be the actual number of your valuation. If these are projected numbers, so this is going to be the estimated valuation of your company in 4 years. So we used to use this methodology when, as I mentioned, when you have a startup with revenues. So what if you are having a startup that does not make any revenues, or the business model is not clear, or you are depends on the content or something like this, and you still don't know how you are going to make money out of that startup, but you have a team, you have product, you have things like this, but you still need some time to make revenues and to know what's the revenues that you can make. So in this case, we use the second method, which is the scorecards. The scorecards is working as you are doing comparison between your company and the company that in the market works in the same industry, in the same market, and when that company was in the same stage. So if you are in the growth stage, you need to find the numbers of that company when it was in the growth stage. If it's in the early stage, you should find the numbers in the early stage. So recession average pre-money valuation for similar stage companies in the same region that you are working in. So, for example, we found a company that was in the same stage of us, and its valuation was 1.5 million. And then you're going to list the key elements that your business have, and you need to weigh the importance of these elements according to your company. So, for example, so these elements are the most common elements, but you should not stick into these elements. You can add whatever you want, you can remove whatever you want. It just depends on these are the key elements of your business. So, uh, um, the team is always a key element. The size of opportunity, if you're going to a free market, new market, or a high competitive market, or something like this. The strength of the product technology, if you are a startup, has a buyer application or a website or whatever is your product or technology, that should be also a key element. If you don't have it, that should not be listed as a key element. Competitive environment, are you going to an environment full of competitive? Is that going, how much that's going to affect your company? The marketing you did, the sales, the partners you have already, or something like this, or if after this fundraise you need more funds or not, and you can also do other as a balance. So, for example, my company, the team of my company, importance is 30% because, for example, this is a company depends on the sales and business development. So, the sales people in my team is the most important element in the company. So, this is why I weighted the team higher than other things. Then, the size of opportunity, it's 25% important for the company because because it's also important for the company because my company is, for example, business to business company. So as much as uh, the size of the market, there's going to be a better opportunity, and you just go through all of the other elements and weight it, and then you should have a total of 100%. So that means your company is represented in numbers like these numbers. So the third thing that you need to do is to start compare your company to the similar companies. So you have the elements here, then you have the importance that you listed in the last slide here. And then what you're starting to do is comparing these elements to the competitor that you are looking at. So for example, your team is better than the average or better than the other company when it was in the same stage. So that means you are 125% than them. And also the size of opportunity, if your business is going to target a larger market or something like this, so that means you have also an advantage on that thing. As strength of the product, so for example, they have more mature product, they used to have more solid product than you have, or using more modern technology than you are using. So that means you are less than them. Or if you are in the same stage of the technology and the product, you just put it as 100. So that means you are equal in this. Competitive environment, if you are going to operate in an environment that has more competitors or has strongest competition than the market that they are targeting, so you are less than them in that area. Also, you do the same for the marketing sales partnership, or you do if you need the additional fund or not, and you just keep going with these things. And what you do after that, now you have the things that you are stronger than them, and you have the things that you are weaker than them. So after that, what you do is you just multiply the importance of that element by the comparison that you did, and then have the result. After you have all the results of these elements, you just calculate them and see how is the total, how much is the total. So for example, in the example that I'm presenting, it's 150.5%. So you go back to the valuation that you find at the beginning, and then multiply it with the percentage that you have, and then you will have an approximate valuation for your company. So the most important thing in the scorecard method is not the number that you have here. It's not the number, the comparison that you are doing. It's all about how you are going to justify the 125% that you have more than your competitor or your comparison that you are doing with. you need to have a good justification of how the opportunity or the market that you are operating in is better than their market. So this is how the investor will look to your company when he see these numbers. The first question will come to his mind that if you see that your team is stronger than their team, so you should have an actual strong resumes in your team and profiles. When they are going to compare it with your competitor, they will feel that how much strong your team is. So the most important thing, as I mentioned here, is how you are going to justify these things, because it's only depends on comparison and on qualitative measurements, and it depends from one company to another. And maybe if you are going to do the same exact method using another competitor, maybe the numbers are going to change or something like this. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be something around this number. And again, this method is always used if your company don't generate revenues, or if your company is not is still in very early stage, that you still don't have any projections of your revenues or expenses. So this is how you can evaluate your company in these stages. And there is a lot of other way to evaluate the companies, but we will be fine for these two common methods about this. And if you have any question about these two methods, or if you know any other methods that you would like to share with the others, or to ask me about it, so we can have further discussions through the YouTube comments or the Facebook group, or you can shoot me an email, or if we are going to have another session for this. So thank you for watching, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you for the presentation. And I hope it was beneficial for all of you. And I look forward to sharing this video with you, and look forward to you asking many questions. I hope you don't have one, because Ella explained it well. It should be great. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.